Welcome to the Mike and JD Show YouTube channel. Thank you for being here. I want you to do me a big favor before you check out this clip. I want you to hit the like button. I want you to throw in a comment and make sure you're a subscriber to this channel. And then I want you to share this video with your friends. Help us defeat the algorithm. And then if you like this content and you appreciate this content, please head over to patreon.com/the Mike and JD Show and support the show. That is how we actually get funded to be able to do this. So we thank you very much for being here. And now enjoy the clip.
Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you work your A game. Mate, no rains on the track when we unite and spit. This is an A game, better bring your A game. Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you work your A game. Mate, no rains on the track when we unite.
JD, where did you first hear that Adam Cole, Wardlow, The Kingdom, and Roderick Strong were going to be the Devils?
I believe we said that on this show some 8 weeks ago.
Yeah, we fucking nailed it. Now AEW, you know, they weren't really doing a good job of hiding the fact that that was who it was, right?
No,
but
no, we pay attention to the show. Like, they told you who everyone was going to be for months, almost since day one. Like, I don't know, man. This storyline really kind of went over like a fart, and I'm kind of glad it's done. You know, we still gotta, like with any fart, you got to deal with the stench that's left behind after a little while. But you know, we didn't shit our pants, so I guess that's good.
Yeah, you know, what did you think of the big reveal? Because I got to be honest, I like, and maybe because I had been kind of like shitting on it for a while, and I knew exactly what it was. And the way they did it is exactly how I envisioned it, with like small details. I was like, okay, the lights are gonna go out, and it's gonna be cool, right? Because they have to do the lights out thing, because you know, fucking God forbid we can't stop doing ECW gimmicks from 1996. But okay, so we still did the lights out thing, and I was pretty underwhelmed with with the whole reveal. I was like, okay, well, if they have a good reveal, maybe they can turn this thing around. But I thought it was shit.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. We had we had a tournament on the 29th and 30th, and it was at our place, and we had to, you know, set up and take down. So it was super busy. So I wasn't able to watch the pay-per-view live, and the feedback was so meh that I didn't watch it. It's the first AEW pay-per-view that I missed. And I only watched it stuff on YouTube clips or on Twitter. So I don't know. I guess it came off about as good as it could expect it, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Which is to say not very good.
No, yeah, not very good. I'm just super glad that it's over, and that we can finally move on. Looks like MJF is going to be out for a while, because as we called right here on this show, Samoa Joe is your new AEW World Heavyweight Champion. We've been predicting it for weeks. It finally came to fruition. Bogo Max is going to be taking some time off. He's still doing his stupid War of 24 gimmick, where he actually, he's been removed from the roster page and all. Like, they're really working that deal, trying to make us think that he hasn't been re-signed for a couple of years now. But
you know who told us Max was re-signed with AEW? WWE.
Yes. I don't think they're lying about that.
No,
they would love to kill the gimmick, right?
Yes, they did kill the gimmick. They would love it to be real and steal another one. Like, they would love to take another most recent AEW World Champion and bring him over. But yeah, they're not playing along. I don't know why. I don't know. Like, everything with Max just went out with such a whimper, right? Like, the AEW's ratings were down today because, you know, quite frankly, the tournament's over, right? The tournament was a draw. It worked. So I'm sure that Pat Buck can cry because people actually wanted to watch wrestling. And Jimmy Jacobs, who managed to fuck up the pay-per-view in a way that only Jimmy Jacobs could. So, you know, you guys get to do your shitty bullshit, but, you know, I'm very sorry, guys in the room, but people actually wanted to watch wrestling. I know that hurts.
Yeah. You know, and I gotta say, you know, I said this before, but I just feel so bad for the casuals, you know? I just feel really bad for them that they had to endure wrestling on a wrestling show. And not everything was spoon-fed to them and explained to them like they're fucking babies. And I just feel really bad for them, because that's who I care about.
There's nothing that quote-unquote wrestling fans like to do more than bitch about the phantom people that they make up in their head. Right? Because AEW has no casual fans, and I'm tired of them saying, like, and you know, here's how you know that AEW is doing a good job, is when the bad faith Twitter people start complaining about it. Right? When the Julian Weekses of the world start telling you that, you know, oh, you know, it's just getting bad. then they're onto something and it's working, because
Yeah.
AEW should be completely different than WWE. And when they're trying to
And,
be like WWE, they're bad.
yeah. And when they're trying to be like WWE, we get "This is Spooky" chants on a fucking wrestling pay-per-view with a monster and a young lady with a witch's hat doing coven type stuff. Like that's what we get whenever they're trying to be like WWE.
Jimmy fucking Jacobs.
Yeah.
Sorry, King of the North here to make sure JD hasn't lost his mind since it turned 2024. You missed the beginning of the show. I bitched about wrestling for a good minute and a half. So
Yeah.
already did.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but so I did get a chance to watch most of the pay-per-view. I'll be honest, like, look, I don't care if people tell me it was a 5-star classic. I ain't watching what's her name, Julia Hart versus Abaddon, and This is Spooky
No.
chant. Like, I'm just not gonna do that. Like,
I'm done.
like I'll be honest, I'm not above a whole lot of things in this life, but I'm above watching that. That's like I'm too good for that, right?
Mike, the entire reason this is called the Mike and JD show and not Brace for Impact is because I lost it. I lost it on the air when Taylor Wilde was dealing tarot cards during a match.
Yeah.
And then Jimmy Jacobs went and ruined that whole thing. God, I could just personify everything I hate about pro wrestling into Jimmy Jacobs. He might not even be responsible for half the shit that I hate, but it's just very convenient for me to look at that guy and blame him for everything.
You know,
Buck
he really is a modern day Vince Russo, right? And and maybe that's maybe he's getting a bad rap. Like maybe he shouldn't be compared to him. But the reason why I'm comparing him to Vince Russo is because everything that sucked in TNA got blamed on Vince Russo, and then it turns out like he did have a lot of shitty stuff, but there was a lot of this other stuff that was like Jared and Mantell that they were actually booking. But when it shit the bed, like people were feeding it to the dirt sheets, like oh no, that was Vince Russo's idea. And then he comes out later, he's like, wait a minute, like I had nothing to do with the last rights match between Abyss and Sting.
Not only was it like fed to the dirt sheets, but the crowd very famously at a TNA show there was a Fire Russo chant
during the last rights match with the
it was during the last
Sting.
Is that what it was? Yeah, that was Fire Russo. Here's what I want, and I'm trying to will this into existence. I really want a Fire Jimmy Jacobs chant to bust out one day, but the AEW fans are just too fucking nice. Like your Wrestle Joy people and stuff like that are just going to make sure that doesn't happen because everything has to be happy.
Yeah, I think that guy is protected, and it looks like AEW and Tony Khan kind of cleaned house, with a lot of their OGs. Like they let go a lot of VPs, VP of different divisions and things like that, like Kevin Sullivan and Raphael Morphy and Dana Massey and all these other people. And like Jimmy Jacobs is kind of his right-hand man. He's on the private jet. He's doing storylines with him, booking all the shows. And Sanjay Dutt and Pat Buck are like right there with him. And a lot of the originals like QT Marshall, he's out. Obviously Cody left a long time ago, but like a lot of the people that kind of built the company are out of the way, and now he's got this whole crew of people. And it appears that it's very much a roller coaster ride, where when before it was like 85% awesome all the time, right? But you still had some wacky shit, but the wacky shit was like it wasn't so bad that it would overtake the rest of the show to where that's all you were talking about. Like by the end of it, it was just kind of silly stuff on the undercard that nobody really cared about. It was just kind of fun stuff for people to do, right? But the wrestling was right. But the wrestling was so fantastic, you just didn't get mad about it. You just didn't care. But now it's kind of closer to 50-50 almost, with the exception of the last month or so when they did the Continental Classic, where that really overtook everything. But this last pay-per-view where they said everything was going to change and we're going to be back to the way we were, we did get that with I think like 4 matches, and then like the rest of them were just kind of like okay, and then there was like 3 that were like just really bad, Well,
a couple things. What the fuck did you expect when you put Abaddon on the show? Right.
Yeah, but you know what? But when they hired Jimmy Jacobs, that's exactly what I expected would happen. I fucking like we called it. We called it right here. Like we're going. That's the shit that we're going to get, and that's exactly what's happening.
Here's what happened. Like I'm saying, all I want is to be the best. Okay, in my perfect world, I'm at a show in Chicago and a Fire Jimmy Jacobs chant breaks out. Perhaps I have the guts to start that chant. I don't know if it'll catch on, but he's awful. He's absolutely terrible, and I'm convinced he was behind the finish of this is what broke me, right? As I'm on Twitter, right at the end of the tournament. We're cleaning up. I'm looking, and this Adam Copeland Christian match, everyone's raving about it. They're like, "This is great. This is great. This is great."
Mhm.
And then they overdustied the finish, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm done." And Bix was the best because Bix just tweeted a picture of Jimmy Jacobs, and of course I had to tweet Jimmy fucking Jacobs, and both tweets caught some fire. It was kind of fun. So yeah, no, that decided right there that I was not going to give AEW my money. I cannot. When a friend has a problem, right? You cannot enable their problems. And right now they have a Jimmy Jacobs problem. And I cannot enable Tony Khan's bad habits. Like,
Yeah.
I'd rather have him more cocaine and less Jimmy Jacobs.
Yeah. I think a lot of AEW fans need to go to Al-Anon, like WrestleJoy, like because they're very codependent. There's like they show up to those pressers afterwards, and like their hard-hitting questions are like, "Hey, what's it like being so great at everything?"
Can you believe I worked for these people for a year and a half? I can't believe it lasted that long. I can't believe it. I can't believe they didn't fire me long before that. Before they eventually did.
Yeah, we don't have to mention what the articles were, but there were a couple articles that you tried to write that they turned down, right? Because they were like, "No, this was slightly negative."
Yeah. Not positive enough.
Yeah.
Yes. Dared not to worship at the altar of Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. So, I feel like we're getting a little bit of a reset. I thought Dynamite overall was pretty good, despite the fact that the ratings were a little bit low. They're establishing some new characters. They're pushing, Swerve as to be a top guy. I think we're gonna get Swerve and Hangman again, which I'm all for. I think that's awesome. And so, I think the ratings will probably dip a little bit while we continue to, get over some new stars. But I think it's a necessary evil. Yeah.